2023 began with a lot of hope and optimism with home buyers in the United States, hoping that they could finally land a home. Because in the beginning of the year, a lot of analysts were saying that home prices were coming down and inventory was going to uptick a little bit, maybe not a tremendous amount, but there was some hope there that people were going to be able to get into a house. Well, here we are winding down the spring market, and yeah, looks like that hope has been squashed. Redfin just came out with a report showing that the week ending April 23rd, there was a 22.4% decline in new listings. We're in the spring market. Where are all the houses and why aren't people selling? Well, there's a couple of reasons why they're not selling. And I want to share this article with you today and tell you what Redfin is saying. And I'm going to share some really good data points with you about this market. I want to talk about what are some potential solutions for this problem. Let's talk about them. You may not agree with me. And if you don't, what are your ideas? What do you think the solution should be to solve this problem with the housing inventory? I'd love to hear it. All right, so let's get into this right now. Okay, we've never seen a housing market like this before. Now, I've only been in the industry about 8 years now, and I will say my fellow colleagues who have been in this way longer than me have all said the same thing. This market is just crazy. It's just, there's nothing for sale.
What?
Over the past few years, we had a huge influx of buyers because the interest rates were so low. But you know what else happened? There was a huge influx on the refinancing side too. Homeowners took advantage of those low interest rates and refinanced their mortgages to below 3% in some cases. Yes, I've heard of people getting interest rates in the twos. So now those interest rates are over 6%. They're almost at 6.5%. So do you think they're going to sell their houses now? No.
What?
We like to call those low interest rates golden handcuffs. Yes, those handcuffs are keeping people bound to their homes to those low interest rates because they don't want to give them up. They have a low monthly payment. And if they were to buy another house right now, not only are they going to be paying more money, but they're going to be paying more than double in some cases on their interest rate. So can you blame them? I don't blame them. But let's take a look at the data and let's look at what Redfin has reported on what's going on. Now, this article is from the end of April. It's dated April 28th. Now, it goes on to talk about this whole issue with the lack of inventory. Now, this is overall average across the nation. There are some markets that have seen some major price declines. There have been. But then there are markets where the prices they're not changing. As a matter of fact, there are some that the prices are still increasing. Yeah, so still got a little bit of a problem there. Now, even though home buyers have backed out, a lot of them backed out since the rates have gone up, especially in the past couple of months, there is still a tremendous amount of demand. Now, for those markets that are seeing price decreases, things are starting to pick up again a little bit for them. So here's an example from this article. Let's take a look at Seattle. So right here, this says in Seattle, prices and pending sales have both declined more than the national average. But a local Redfin agent, Shoshana Godwin, said that she's noticing an uptick in demand this month. Some buyers are hoping to get a deal because mortgage rates are high. But prices for desirable homes are actually going up because there's such a limited inventory. So any home that's out there that's like move-in condition, you don't have to do any renovations to it, those are selling so fast. And they are seeing multiple offers. I'm having it here in New Jersey as well. New Jersey is in such a weird housing bubble right now because we still have the tremendous amount of demand from people who live in New York City that want to move out here. That's still keeping prices elevated here in New Jersey. I know, who'd have thought? But yeah, it's become a hot market. It's still a hot market here. So even though the interest rates have gone up, thanks to our friend, Mr. Jerome Powell, who raised interest rates recently, that's not enough. The whole point of Jerome Powell raising those interest rates was to curb inflation. They want to bring inflation numbers back down. I get that. But guess what? It's not working. It's not. So the rise in the mortgage rates is not having an impact on this housing market. It's not. It's not at all. Interest rate doesn't mean a thing. People are still buying houses. Yes, the demand is pulled back, but there's still a lot of people out there that still need a home. And now we have this shortage. And now all these people who are sitting on these low interest rates are afraid to give them up. So what the heck? Let's look at the home buying activity for the month of April. And this is all data coming from Redfin. For the week ending April 27th, average 30-year fixed mortgage rates inched up to 6.43%. That's the second straight small increase after 5 straight weeks of declines. The average was 6.67% on April 27th. Mortgage purchase applications during the week ending April 21st increased 5% from a week earlier. Purchase applications were down 28% from a year earlier. The seasonally adjusted Redfin Home Buyer Demand Index, that's a measure of requests for home tours and other home buying services from Redfin agents, that was down slightly from a week earlier during the week ending April 23rd, but it's up 3% from a month earlier. It's down 13% from a year earlier. Google searches for homes for sale were down about 8% from a month earlier during the week ending April 22nd, down about 20% from a year earlier. So yeah, people aren't really looking for homes. Touring activity as of April 22nd was up about 28% from the beginning of this year, compared with a 17% increase at the same time last year. And that's according to the home tour technology company ShowingTime. Now let's look at the data on what the market is doing in different parts of the country. This is really interesting. The median home sale price was $367,053, and that's a decrease of 2.8%. That's the 9th straight 4-week period of declining sale prices. I mean, 2.8%, that's really not a lot. Home sale prices declined in 29 of the 50 most populous U.S. metros, and the biggest drop being in Austin, Texas. Now, Austin, Texas saw a decline of 13.7% year over year. And that's followed by Oakland, California, which is down 13.5%, San Francisco, 12.3%, Anaheim, 10%, and Sacramento, California, down 9.4%. Now, prices are increasing in different parts of the country. They are. Sale prices increased most in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, where they rose 10% year over year. Next in line was Miami. Their prices went up 8.7%. Cleveland went up 7.9%. Cincinnati, 7.5%. And Columbus, Ohio, 7%. Now, you may recall a video I did a few months ago talking about the predictions of what was going to happen in the housing market. And a lot of analysts said that they felt that states like Ohio and states in the Midwest and a portion of the Northeast were going to fare well in this market and potentially see price increases. And that's all because of affordability. Homes are cheap in these areas and makes complete sense as to why those prices are going up. Continuing on with the data, pending home sales were down 16.7% year over year. Pending home sales fell in all 50 of the most populous U.S. metros. They declined the most in Las Vegas. They're down 39%. Seattle, 38.9%. Portland is down 38.7%. Chicago, 36.9%, and Oakland had a decline of 36.2%. New listings of homes fell 22.4%. Now, active listings, now this is the number of homes listed for sale at any point during that period, that 4-week period. This is new listings, just current active listings. That was up 7.4% from a year earlier, and that's the smallest increase in 9 months. We're coming to the end of the spring market, and that's all we got. Now, another interesting data point is the months of supply. Now, that's the measure of the balance between supply and demand, and that's calculated by the number of months it would take for the current inventory to sell at the current sales pace. The month supply was at 2.7 months. That is up from 1.9 months from a year earlier. Okay, so that's telling us that homes are sitting on the market. It's taking a little bit longer for these homes to sell. But the problem is, we're still a seller's market. A balanced market is 5-6 months, a month's supply. That's considered balance. And anything over 6 months, that we are in a buyer's market. We are still well in the throes of a seller's market. Hey, before we move on, you know what I'm going to ask you. This is really super important. Can you like this video? Because you are going to be helping somebody out. Because when you like this, YouTube then pushes this out to another audience, and somebody out there may benefit from this information. So, do your fellow mankind some good today and like this video. Another interesting data point: 47% of homes that went under contract had an accepted offer within the first 2 weeks on the market. That's the highest level in nearly a year. Why is that up so high? Again, because there's no homes for sale. The very little homes that are out there, they are being scapped up and just taken off the market in like a nanosecond. Another good data point here is 30% of homes sold above their final list price, the highest share in 6 months, but it's down from 53% a year earlier. So that is a good sign. Only 30% of the homes in this nation sold for above list price. So that's telling us that those prices are definitely coming down. Not many homes are going well over asking price. And to add on to that data point, it says here the average sale to list price ratio, that measures how close homes are selling to the final asking prices, that was at 99.1%. That's the highest level in 6 months, yet it's down from 102.4% this time last year. Okay, so that's a really good sign. So 102.4% of list, yeah, that's a lot over asking. But now we're down to 99.1%. And then the other indicator, 30% of the homes have sold over asking price. Those are good indicators right there, because that's saying that the prices are definitely coming back down. One graph I want to share with you here that Redfin put out, which is a little alarming. Redfin shares the home buyer housing payments. Okay, so that home buyer housing payments increased 11.8% year over year. So if you look at this chart right here, you look at that orange line, you see April 23rd, what it costs somebody right now for their mortgage is $2,555. That's at an interest rate of 6.43%. That's the median payment across this country. This is what people are paying for. Now, what's really bothersome when you look at 2022, last year, this time last year, okay, it was just around 2250, slightly above, maybe 2300. But let's go back to 2021, shall we? Look at the blue line of 2021. Yeah, so it was about $1,600 a month, the home buyer housing payment in 2021. I don't even want to look at 2020 because that's just really disturbing. So it's getting super expensive to own a home right now. Like, no kidding, no joke. Everybody sees it, everybody's feeling it. So what do we do to increase this inventory? So how do we get past this? How do we solve this problem? Well, as I said before, Jerome Powell and his cronies are sorry, it's not working. Raising that interest rate did not work at all. It's actually creating more of a problem because people don't want to sell their homes now, as we can see by the data I just shared with you. Well, there's a couple of things to consider. This is an idea that was shared with me by my mortgage lender partner, and he had a really great idea. So anybody who's considering retirement right now, or if you're in your house, you don't want to be there, it's getting to become a burden, and yet you're afraid to sell, and you're not going to find a place to live, and you want to move to, say, Florida. So for those who are in the Northeast or in the colder states and they want to move to Florida, but Florida's getting pretty too darn expensive, you may want to consider other areas to retire to and start doing your research on that. South Carolina, believe it or not, it's a little bit cheaper to live there than in Florida. Delaware, I know. Delaware is cheaper than Florida a little bit, but it's still cheaper to live there. Delaware has beaches. Now, mind you, your winters will get a little cold, but you're not going to be dealing with much snow. So same thing in South Carolina, like you're going to have pretty mild winters down there. It's time to start thinking about what other areas could you consider moving to that is affordable, because no offense, Florida's just getting too darn expensive. Another thing that homeowners should think about is, if you sell your house right now and you don't know where you want to go, or you're not ready to commit and buying another home because of these high interest rates, take those profits, take the proceeds from the sale of your home, and you can actually invest them into treasury bonds. Those are getting 5% interest right now. So throw the money in the bank, put it into treasuries, and get 5% interest, make some more money off of that, and then go rent somewhere for a while until things calm down. Are interest rates going to come back down again? They will, once we finally get into this recession, whenever that is. Who knows? Because we keep talking about, we are in a recession or we're heading towards a recession. So you can wait it out a little bit, or go into the area that you're thinking of retiring, and you can rent for a while. You don't have to go put all your money into buying a new place right now if you don't want to pay these high interest rates. Another thing let's talk about is the new construction. Okay. Builders have held back a lot, and they held back after 2008 with the crash. But the unfortunate thing is builders are still holding back. And because they don't want to be stuck with the surplus of vacant homes, because I understand if they're a business, they're going to lose money. So here's the thing. There are a lot of builders out there that are offering incentives, such as credits towards your closing costs, or they're offering to pay for a point on your mortgage rate so you have a lower monthly payment. If you find a place where there's new construction and there are builders that are offering that, take advantage of it. Definitely take advantage of it.
Yeah. That's right.
And if there are builders out there that are not offering these incentives, my God, why aren't you doing it?
You're right.
I think you need to do it. You have to help these people out because it's getting just too darn expensive to buy a house. Another problem that we find is that there are a lot of regulations on builders right now too, whether it be the local towns or the state or even federal regulations, where they're putting all these restrictions on builders, and it's also costing them to get all these permits to get a house built. So can you blame them? It's kind of tough for them to build a house and make any decent profit on it. I know a lot of real estate agents feel that the government needs to cut back on these regulations, ease up on them, and let these builders build to get people into homes. So that's another thing that I think should be done to allow more homes to get built here in this country. I mean, it's got to get done. So these are a few of my ideas. What are your ideas? What are you thinking about this? Do you have any suggestions, ideas, thoughts? Drop comments below. I really want to hear from you guys. But again, please be nice. Some people haven't been so nice lately, and I don't like that. My channel is a place of peace. Let's just have an honest conversation and have a friendly conversation. And yeah, all is good here. So these are my thoughts of possible solutions to help this inventory problem. And I just hope somebody would take this into consideration. And raising net interest rates is not helping inflation, guys. Sorry, I hate to say it, but something else has to happen to fix this problem. Hey, if you want to learn where there are like the most affordable places to live in the United States, you got to check out this video I did over here. It's really good. I think you're going to like it. Thank you for joining me today to get your dose of real estate reality. My name is Jackie Baker, and I will see you next time.